Өнөөдөр бид тэдгээр ухаалаг хайрлсан лекцүүдийн нэг болох
2008 оны 8 сарын 22-нд Франц улсад англи хэл дээр айлтсан Румигийн шүлэг бороонд илбүүлсэн жимсний цэцэрлэг мэт 3 цуврал лекцийн 1-р хэсгийг багшаавын шүтэлцээгээр толилуулах хувь тохиолоо.
This is another poem from Rumi, and he made poem not just for the sake of amusing himself, right? It's for the sake of educating his disciples or people at large in his time. Now you know Canaan. You know Noah. He has a son, right? Canaan, huh? Canaan, not Canine, okay? I have many canines. He has a son called Canaan. Canaan. This son has never been anything more than up to no good, yeah? I don't want to use the word bad because it's not positive, so I say he's up to no good. Or like good for nothing. He has been rebellious, stubborn, and always against his father. And that's the problem. I know many sons or daughters have this kind of tendency, yeah? But this one is too much, okay? Like if your son and daughter have maybe 30% rebellious character, yeah? Or 20%, 40%, even 50% maybe okay. But this guy maybe 80, 90 or 100%, rebellious, especially against his father. As you know very well, in the family, yeah? Sometimes the father is idealistic, yeah? And want the son to follow his footsteps, like to be a minister or a doctor or somebody, yeah? Somebody good and of service to mankind. And the son sometimes do just exactly the opposite, huh? And sometimes the father is bad, like doing something that is against moral standard of human society, like robbing, or stealing, something like that. And the son is the opposite, yeah? Very pious, very morally fit, yeah? And virtuous and loving and kind, etc., etc. Now, in this story, Rumi wants to illustrate something, like even if one person is your so-called family member, it's not exactly that he or she is a family member. Yeah? Yes. And remember, Jesus also say, who is my mother? Oh, who is my sister? Only the one who does the will of God, then they are my mother or my sister. What it means is love is looking in the same direction, right? If we love somebody or if we are a partner, yeah, then we have to look in the same direction, have the same ideal, and do the same work. The best is the same, but good work, huh? Yeah, not just the same, but no good. Okay, now this is the poem called As the Orchard is with the Rain. He said, don't be like Canaan, son of Noah, who wouldn't get in the ark. You know what it means? When the flood happened, and Noah had already built an ark, yeah, and put a pair of animals each in his ark already, and all his family member and belonging and necessity and supply for a while, yeah, is all already in the ark. And he come in, but his son did not come in and did not want to. So that's how it is. So Rumi told us that we should not be like Canaan, who wouldn't get in the ark in the time of emergency like that, and still rebels against good intention. Yes. So now, he continued. He was swimming. Kenan was swimming and saying, I hate my father. I won't use that boat. Can you believe that? Maybe he hates his father. But by doing this, he goes not against only his father, but he goes against his life, right? So in time of emergency, even if you don't like the one who came to rescue you or to give you good information, you better listen to that person, right? That the flood is rising and it must have been terrible weather and everything, yeah. And the father built the ark, and because the son doesn't like the father, he wouldn't go in the ark. But there's a thing. You see, in this story, supposed to be like that. The son of a spiritual father, you know what I mean? A highly developed person who could even be in direct contact with God. And the son is the opposite. But it happens like that. So you told me many times, Master, how can I tell my son to eat vegetarian or to practice, Guanyin method? How can I convince my husband that your path is very good? How can I talk to my wife about my meditation practice and make her understand? At least understand, not even to follow. How can? Yeah? The thing is, the affinity between us and other people are sometimes a big surprise to us. No? We would think, if I'm a mother, and I follow Master Ching Hai, all my family will listen to me, my sons, my daughter, and all that. At least my children. But no, not always, hey? And if you think I'm a husband, I'm the breadwinner in the house even, yes, and I'm tough, I'm a man. If I follow Master Ching Hai, my family should. No, not necessarily. They want to prove you wrong, some of them. It's just good for their ego. It depends on how much percentage of ego your family has. It's going to be tough or not tough. You got me, yeah? So, because Noah was already on the boat, and everybody else, including his farm animals, already on the boat. And he kept calling out, Come, son, sit in this that I have made, or you will drown. No, I've learned how to swim on my own. I've lit my candle from a flame other than yours. He probably has a different religious belief. That's what he means. And he so strongly believed in whatever that faith was that he against his father, who doesn't believe the same like he does. Yeah? Well, it happened. You understand, right? I told you already. Nói chuyện với đầu gối á. Huh? Okay. That's Vietnamese. We say, we talk to the knees. I mean, you talk and you listen yourself. No one else does. See what I mean? Okay. So this is probably the same. Kenan probably had a fixed religious belief. You know what I mean? And so when his father said that he's in direct contact with God and God told him to do this, do that, he would not want to listen because he's so indoctrinated in this kind of fixed religious belief. All right. Now, another thing he hated, I think, right now he hated his father more than ever. You know why? Because his prediction came true. And that's against Kenan's belief. Because before, he already did not want to believe his father that the flood will occur, that he need to build a boat. Can you imagine building a boat where the dry land or on top of the hill where nothing, no water can ever reach and no water nearby? And saying that I will need it soon. that everybody should come on the boat and all that. Of course, not only Canaan, but everybody in the town probably was ridiculing all this time, yeah? And come and point finger and say, look at that madman, and nobody would have probably talked to him at all for all this time, or just ridicule him, laughing at him, make fun of him, and he probably has become the talk of the town all this time. And now, it's proven that he's right. The flood is there. So the son also feel like, it hurts his pride, his ego, that his father is even right. Because all this time, he has never believed in his father. So now, you see why he hates his father? Because his father is right. And such dramatically right. Not just about a piece of bread or which one is more nutritious or olive oil is better than any other oil or anything similar like that. For example, well, olive oil is not better than any other oil, it's just different. I'm just saying, for example. So now his father is right. In such a dramatic situation, of course, he loses faith, the son. He feels his ego has been really shattered. Such an ego that even in such a desperate situation, he still goes against his father. Can you believe this? So this is what the most frightening thing that we carry around us, the ego. I told you many times. But you see it now? Okay. So, father keeps saying, don't do it. Canaan, this flood extinguishes all candles of human ingenuity. Only God's candle can make it through these waves. Stop your arrogant claims and get in. When he says candles, what does he mean? I mean the light of God. Yeah, it's just a parable. Okay, so Canaan trusted in the fixed doctrine, like fixed religious belief. And his father taught differently, like you have to be connected with God, yeah? You have to have this light within you, then you'll be saved. That's what he meant by only God's candle can make it through these waves. Everything else will be extinguished. Like the flame, of the torch, or any other candles. Any other kind of hope, any other kind of belief will not survive in this catastrophe. Right. But Canaan say what? No, I can make it to the mountain top. I'll be safe there, swimming and talking. I don't know how he did it, but similar like that, I guess. Mountains are just bits of straw in this storm. There is no refuge except with God's beloved. That's what his father answered him. Mountains are just bits of straw. They, some wood and some rock and something left to, fix together become a mountain. So he say even mountains are bits of straw. It means it's nothing. It means it's not safe for you to go and take refuge there even. In this storm, there is no refuge except in God's beloved. God's beloved means what? God's beloved probably means the master, the representative of God, which was Noah at that time. He was probably teaching people enlightenment through direct contact with God within. So God's beloved at that time must have been Noah. So at that time he revealed to his son his true identity, that like I am God's beloved. He has to at this time, even though his son has never believed him, and he probably has never told anyone up to this moment that he's God's beloved. But in this time of dire emergency, he has to tell his son, take refuge in God's beloved, being God's representative, like Jesus, Buddha, Mohammed, Guru Nanak, Mahavira, etc., the great master of all time. Now, so in this time of emergency and urgency, only God's beloved can save you. There's no more God's grace even. Do you know why? Because there is a limit time for God's grace. Like, okay, the karmic law has extended to 3 more years due to the prayers of humanity. Yeah, please save us. Please show us the way. Help us. Do not destroy our planet. Do not destroy us. Yeah, etc., etc. And some enlightened people intervene, also praying for them, and say, let us give them some more time. I can fix this. I can tell them to return to their righteous self. Please give us some time. So maybe heaven, grace, God's grace, had extended to a certain period of time. But at this moment, when Noah is already on his boat, the time of grace has been stopped. Yes, finished. The deadline is there. The flood is already there. You see what I mean? No more grace. Too late. So he said that at this time, in this storm, there's no refuge. In this storm even, it's not just the rising water, it's stormy, windy, everything. And the son is still holding on to his ego. Can you believe such ego? They exist. And it serves only to kill you, inside out. Kill your spiritual progress, kill your soul. Not kill your soul, but kill the knowledge that you have a soul, and kill your body too. What a pity. All he does is just step on the boat, and he cannot do that. What stops him? The ego. The ego makes him feel like what he believed was correct, and what his father say is incorrect, is not true. And now that he even knows that what his father say is true, he against him even more. Because he feels shattered, his ego shattered, his belief shattered. At that moment, he cannot think straight, yeah? He just feels shocked, confused, and his ego doesn't let him admit that he's wrong. Okay, in ordinary circumstance, you can stay there, argue back and forth, yeah? Or can think about it. But in such a situation, if you hold on to this kind of ego, you're dead. Right? There's no time to argue. But such is the force of ego. I mean, it's difficult to explain about the ego, but it's just a kind of fixed belief, in yourself, that you are this, you are that, and whatever you think is right. This is the kind of thing that stops you from knowing the truth, of knowing your great self, because you're holding on to your small self. And you think that it's your small self. It's not even your small self. It doesn't exist. Whatever you think you are, it's just a bunch of thoughts, a bunch of gain knowledge, a bunch of belief. It's not even yourself. Just the thinking of the mind or the knowledge that you have gained somewhere. That's it. So he said to his son, we should take refuge in God's beloved. This is probably the first time he ever used his position, his real identity, to persuade his son. Because, as you know, mostly the master would never tell people that I am this and I am that. He probably just say, oh, God has made me do this and God wants me to do that. But he would never proclaim that I am God's beloved. Yeah, which he is actually, but mostly the master, they don't say that. But this is an emergency. So he say, God's beloved, mean himself. You should take refuge in God's beloved because nothing else work right now. That's what he said. Okay? So, but the son say, when have I ever taken your advice? He asked his father, in this stormy weather, flooding like that, everybody else already drowned around him. All the village, the house is already submerged in water. And he still talk like that. Can you imagine what kind of ego he has? Huh? When have ever I taken your advice? Your words mean nothing to me. In either word, leave me alone, O little father. Can you believe this? O little father, leave me alone. Your words mean nothing to me. My goodness, even your enemy wouldn't do this to you. Huh? In time of emergency, even your enemy would jump on the boat and maybe argue with you later. But this kind of son, do you think he is really the son? Must be the reincarnation of Maya, of Satan, of the opposite force, of the negative power that has infiltrated himself into the family of such a great benevolent master in order to make trouble, to block his mission, to cause misery, disappointment, and weaken his physical, mental power, whatever way he can, to stop the mission of the master. Therefore, even in the last minute of the battle between yin and yang, he is still on the opposite side. Now we can see very clearly, right? He's not the son of Noah. You can see or not? So, sometimes in a family of a virtuous person, it happens that there's an appearance of something of the opposite direction, like this so-called son of Noah. The Buddha also say that the negative power cannot destroy him, cannot disturb him. So the negative power uses his closest one, closest disciple, to trouble him. That's always the case. The Buddha say the same. And who betrayed Jesus but his own, one of the most trusted disciples? You know what I mean? Yes. And who betrayed Buddha also? His own trusted cousin. But thus is the work of negative and positive power. It has always been like that. Where there is goodness, oftentimes there's badness next to it. Yeah. Like we and our shadow. Yeah? Okay. So Noah did not give up still. Of course, it's his son. Yeah? Or anyone. If he see anyone in danger like this, of course he try his best to persuade the person to, to follow him for safety, But so he continued, don't do this, don't do this. This is no time for self-conceit. Until now, you have shown contempt for me and for God. Now God is showing disdain. Be careful. Your disdain means nothing to God. Yes. So even in this situation, the father is still trying very hard to reason with this stubborn, full of ego son. He thinks if he goes against the father, that should be like the whole world watching or something, or everybody clapping hands around him. Such is the ego. Even no one there watching, they still to show off. They still want to show that he's right, even at the risk of his own safety. He said, up till now, you show disdain for me and for God. And now it's the opposite direction. That's what he means. God is showing disdain. And your disdain means nothing to God. I mean, please, even, he's so desperate already. He even argued in such a petty thing that please come up, to tell him that it means nothing. Nobody around here. God doesn't care what you think of him anyway. Whether you show contempt for God or for me, nobody cares. God doesn't care. So just come up to the boat. But no. God is not begotten, he continued. God has said, young man, don't strut. Old man, don't be proud. Husband, have no lust. Lady, I am not coy. All that helps in my presence is utter and complete helplessness. That means God saying that. Whatever power in God's presence means nothing. So, Canaan replied, Father, you have been saying this for years. Oh, God. Typical. You must be insane to think I'll listen now. Oh, who is insane? I have my own wisdom. Huh? Such a wisdom. I'm astonished. I have my own wisdom. I don't need your tiresome preaching. Can you believe that? This is typical. It sometimes happens not to such a grave degree, but in some case, even what I say is correct or good. I just take it for granted, So they're already used to with their work and all that, and they think they know everything already. Anyway, it's the same in the family, That's why it's difficult to talk to your husband, your wife, or your children, or your friend, or your, relatives about the path that you're going. Even though it's correct and logical to their ears even if they know it's correct. They just don't want to follow because it's you who said it. Who are you to tell me that you know better than I am? This is the trouble with the ego. And this is how civilizations have perished. That's how many galaxies have been destroyed, disappeared, because of the ego of the mind.